And we say hello to the new
Thank
president
you.
of the Rangers, John Davidson. Thanks so much
Oh,
for
pleasure,
stopping
guys.
by.
Great to be here. Great.
So you're in the Hall of Fame as a broadcaster. We do this show 4 nights a week. I don't know if they told you have to host at least 1 night a week.
I can't do that. No, on a scale of 1 to 10, that'd be a 0. But if you need a little analyst work once in a while, I'd be happy to help. Thanks.
So I was over there earlier when you were introduced, and I was really taken. I've never met you, but it says something to me about a man when you are comfortable enough in your own skin to get very emotional in front of a group of people. I was really moved by your reaction to how the day unfolded.
You know, it's interesting. I think Jim got emotional with Glenn Sather, too. Listen, I don't mind showing emotion. I try to control it, but I'm not very good at it. Life is about emotions. And if you can go through your life and have great things happen, you should get emotional about it because, like, I'm a lifer. It's 45 years being a part of the National Hockey League, and it's given me everything I've had in life, obviously. And so I don't mind. I'm not as bad as Mark Messier, but I'm not good either. Emotions make the world go round, and this was a very special day for myself and my family. You know, a few weeks ago, this wasn't there. I was working with Columbus in the playoffs, and we had a good run, and that team's going in the right direction. Then things just happened, and we had to make some decisions. And how can you not? I've got New York in my blood, 28 years worth before we left, and I know what I'm getting myself into. It's not easy, but I know what I'm getting myself into, and that's an original 6 franchise, the New York Rangers, in the greatest city in the world. And even you know what's interesting, and I don't mean to be long-winded here, but
So
even
as long as you want.
No, even my friends and ownership. People all associated with the Blue Jackets, you know, I'm leaving them out of just quick, bang, gone. They fully understand and wish me well. It was great. That's very classy of them to do that.
And that's what I wanted to ask you is that, you know, this is obviously for you a coming home.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've already accomplished plenty in your career as an executive. With the Blues success, you have your fingerprints all over that this year. But was this something, even though you said a couple of weeks ago this wasn't a possibility, was it always something, though, in the back of your mind to have that opportunity to come back here and run this organization?
You think about it. You know, when I left the network, and the network, as I said somewhere today, the special thing about working, for me at least, and Sam would say the same thing, and others, is you work for Madison Square Garden Network, you're working at one of the greatest arenas, if not the greatest arena in the world. You get unbelievable events here. And then they said, well, you want to go do the Olympics for this company or that company? You want to go do the Stanley Cup? Sure, go do it. Do a good job. That kind of professionalism from the company you're working with makes the world go round for me. And so when I left and went to St. Louis, that was a whole different world. I mean, this was now an executive.
How do you make that transition after such a great broadcasting career and no experience in a front office, right?
No, not at all. It was a leap of faith. The television world has been exceptional to me. Just great, working with great people. I've always found the television world very similar to a hockey team, where you have the coach and the general manager, your producer, director, you've got your cameraman, you've got your videotape people, you've got your audio people. It's a team. And if you don't work as a team, it doesn't work. And there's a lot of people behind the scenes to make the team work. Very similar to a hockey club, general manager, coach, your training staff, your players that have different roles. It's very similar. So I retired at 29 because of injuries, and yet Madison Square Garden invited me to still stay in the game. Yeah, thank God for that. I don't know what I would have done. And it grew from there. I think I probably worked harder as a television broadcaster than I did as a player because it ended so early, and I said, I better get to work here and do a good job so I can keep a job. And then when the executive part of it started, I was as green as can be. I'll never forget what Larry Plow did for me. Larry Plow was the assistant general manager of the Rangers in '94 when they won the Cup with Neil Smith. And he was in St. Louis, and I went to work there, and he was the general manager, and he really helped me just navigate through a lot of different things. And then you have to live it. You have to live trying to rebuild an organization. You have to make tough decisions. You hope most of them are right. And the only way you do it is by getting experience. And that's what I did.
And you know what it's like to play here.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
What's it like? I mean, you had that magical run in '79.
Yeah.
make it to the Cup final. What's that like as a player? Take a look at some of the old shots here.
Yeah, good balance there. I'm hanging onto the crossbar.
How did you
Top
see
level
with that
shots.
mascot? I still I marvel at that.
I'm just
too.
lucky I didn't get hit there very often.
Right.
And this is when we beat the Islanders. That was an amazing run for a lot of good guys on that team. The Islanders, of course, were just a great hockey club. They won the next 4 Stanley Cups, deservedly so. But memories from the guys on that team and with those guys, just super. Playing in New York, at first for me, was, I wouldn't say a struggle. It was trying to figure out a different culture. When you grow up in Calgary, you play in a Midwestern city like I did for 2 years in St. Louis, and then you go to New York where fans are so passionate, and the emotions, they don't hide them. Pluses, boos, cheering, they speak with what's on their mind. And once I adjusted to that, I've loved this place. It's fantastic. If you do well in this arena here, life's good.
And you're remembered forever, obviously. Is there an energy to not just getting this job because it's a coming home for you, but also because it's in a rebuild right now with a lot of young players and a lot of potential that they have on this roster and other moves to make too?
When the Rangers announced that was their game plan and that's what they were going to do, I go, you know what, that's pretty good. There's no hiding it. It's transparent as can be. And if you're going to do it the right way, you can build a foundation. And once you do that and get the culture to where you want it as an organization, you can make a run at it year after year after year. But if you don't do it the right way, you may get a chance, but it'll only be one. Lucky if you get 2. You've got to draft. You have to develop. You have to bring young people in. You have to make sure you have the veteran players be the right leaders to create the locker room culture. You know, when we were in Columbus, we got in there, and I will give John Tortorella a ton of credit. He helped us quickly change the culture of what was going on in the room itself. And coaches don't want to run the room. They don't want to run the locker room. The players should run their own locker room and have their peer pressure to make things better. And until that happens, though, the coaches have to be a big part of that. And we went through all that. Now the Columbus room is the players' room, and the coaches still communicate, of course, with their players. And that's what we want here. We want communication, but we want the players to have their room and have to get there. That culture has to be strong to get through good times and bad times.
John, as president, how involved are you in the scouting of prospects, the looking at potential free agents? What's your role, your management style like as well?
I like to be hands-on. I like to have communication with everybody and know what's going on. I want to have answers if I'm asked. Regarding scouting, I'm not a scout. I mean, these guys that are lifetime amateur scouts, can you imagine going to someplace in the Czech Republic or Slovakia or Finland or wherever and looking at an 18-year-old skate around and you think he's going to be this or that, and they're not even close to their body weight, their height, their maturity at all. These guys are good. They're really good at what they do. What I try to do, though, is examine how they work, how hard they work, all that type of stuff, so you can try to find ways to make your group a group that's going to get better and try to achieve these things day after day after day. So I like going to the rink every day. I'm a lifer. I like to scout some just to see how everybody works, to see how it works. Regarding the other end of it, there's the amateur end, then there's the pro end. Same thing. Always have an opinion, but the general manager is the general manager. The coach is the coach. But I want communication. And I want opinions, too. I want different opinions. And sometimes they can get coarse, and they should. But they're all on the same team at the end of the day.
Now, you mentioned team and teamwork and how that works, and obviously, so you rely on scouts to do a lot of the work. Luckily, the franchise has the number 2 overall pick, and when you look at the top of the draft, you realize that whatever happens at 2 is probably a result of what doesn't happen at 1. Is it as easy as that, or is there still a lot of work to do with that pick?
There's always a lot of work to do. You don't know when. Here's an example. We had the number 4 pick one year in St. Louis and picked, I think it was 4, picked Alex Pietrangelo, who's now their team captain, and he's a great player. We actually sent him back to junior twice. He wasn't happy, but we felt that was the best thing for his development, and it's worked. So every young player that comes in is different. Some are ready physically, not mentally. Some are ready mentally, not physically. You don't want to see them go out there and get hurt. Some are ready, and you stick them in there and they play well. One caveat is that this league has gotten younger. It's not like it was 10, 12 years ago where we had a huge amount of 35, 36-year-old players playing in the game. They're younger now, and they're star players at a much younger age. The young player of today has played the good ones. They've been picked to play for their countries all over the world at a young age. And if you take the World Junior Championship across Canada, that's like the NCAA's down here in basketball. It's huge. And so these kids have been exposed to a lot of the pressures. They've been coached a lot more than young kids were a few years ago. They've been, the nutrition aspect of things is a lot better than it's used to be. But we still have to go through that process once they get here.
So can we haven't heard one all day. Can we get an oh baby?
Oh, baby. I don't mind that one at all. I had a lot of fun with that. Fans, I still walk down the street and people say it's awesome. It's just awesome.
And we're going to have you with Sam Rosen coming up.
Okay,
So we'll look
great.
forward to having
Thanks,
you
guys.
stick around for that.
Appreciate it.
Great John Davidson, the new president of the New York Rangers. For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.